The night is thick with humidity. Jungle sounds mask the whisper of movement. Deep in the heart of a Philippine island, shadows shift. They're not animals, they're men, highly trained, heavily armed, hidden from the world. This is the Philippines' secret weapon, an underground army ready to strike at a moment's notice. Their target, the looming threat from the North China. These soldiers are ghosts, invisible to satellite imagery, unknown to foreign intelligence. They train in silence, they prepare in darkness. Their existence is denied by officials, but whispers of their presence echo through rural villages. Fishermen speak of strange lights in remote coves. Farmers report glimpses of armed men melting into the forest. This scene isn't real, not yet. But it captures the essence of a startling possibility. Could the Philippines be harboring a hidden force, a secret army prepared to defend against Chinese aggression? The idea seems far-fetched, but in the world of geopolitics, truth is often stranger than fiction. What if the Philippines has been preparing in ways we can't see? The country faces a giant neighbor with expansionist ambitions. China's military dwarfs that of the Philippines. On paper, it's no contest, but what if the real strength lies hidden? How would such a force operate? Picture a network of underground bunkers, secret training facilities buried in remote mountains, caches of weapons and supplies scattered across the archipelago. A force that can melt into the population, strike swiftly, then disappear. Who would make up this phantom army? Perhaps they're drawn from elite military units, or maybe they're ordinary citizens, farmers, fishermen and shopkeepers by day. Guerrilla fighters by night, trained in secret, ready to defend their homeland at all costs. These questions spark the imagination. They also raise serious points about national defense. How does a smaller nation protect itself against a superpower? What strategies might it employ when conventional warfare isn't an option? The answers could reshape our understanding of regional security. The idea of a hidden army isn't new to the Philippines. During World War II, resistance fighters plagued Japanese occupiers. They struck from the shadows, melted back into the jungle. Their bravery became legend. Could this history be repeating itself? More recently, tensions with China have escalated. Disputes over the South China Sea dominate headlines. Chinese vessels encroach on Philippine waters. They build artificial islands, install military equipment. The Philippines protests. But what can it do against such a powerful adversary? This David versus Goliath scenario has deep roots. The Philippines has long lived in the shadow of larger powers, Spanish colonizers, American occupiers, Japanese invaders. Each time the Filipino people found ways to resist, to preserve their identity and independence. Now, China looms large. Its economic and military might seem overwhelming, but history teaches us that size isn't everything. Small forces, properly motivated and strategically deployed, can achieve remarkable things. The question is, has the Philippines taken this lesson to heart? Let's consider the logistics of a hidden army. It would require immense planning, secrecy on a national scale. How could such a force be trained without detection? Where would they get their weapons? How would they communicate? Modern technology complicates the picture. Satellite imagery can spot the smallest details. Electronic communications can be intercepted. Social media makes secrets hard to keep. Yet history is full of examples of covert operations that succeeded against the odds. The advantages of such a force are clear. It would be nearly impossible to neutralize, scattered across thousands of islands, embedded within local communities. A nightmare for any invading force. But the challenges are equally daunting. Coordination, supply, maintaining readiness without exposure. Experts debate the feasibility of such a strategy. Some dismiss it as fantasy, others see it as a logical response to asymmetrical threats. The truth likely lies somewhere in between. The Philippines may not have a full-fledged secret army, but some level of covert preparation, that's harder to rule out. Section 5 ripples in the region. Potential impact on stability. The mere possibility of a hidden Philippine army changes the game. It introduces uncertainty, forces potential adversaries to reconsider their strategies. China, in particular, would have to factor this into its calculations. The cost of conflict suddenly becomes much higher. But there are risks too. If discovered, such a force could escalate tensions. China might see it as a provocation, a justification for more aggressive actions. Other nations in the region would be forced to respond, to reevaluate their own defense strategies. The United States, a longtime ally of the Philippines, would be in a delicate position. Supporting such a force could strain relations with China. Ignoring it could weaken ties with the Philippines. The balance of power in Southeast Asia could shift dramatically. Moreover, the existence of hidden forces could inspire similar strategies elsewhere. Vietnam, Taiwan, Indonesia, all facing pressure from China, all potential candidates for developing their own covert capabilities. The result? A region on edge, a powder keg of secret armies and hidden agendas. Section 6. Beneath the surface, feasibility and challenges. Creating and maintaining a secret army is no small feat. It requires massive resources, unwavering discipline, perfect operational security. One leak, one mistake, and the whole operation could be compromised. Is this realistic for the Philippines? Consider the training required. Special forces level skills, guerrilla warfare tactics, survival in harsh conditions, all while maintaining absolute secrecy. It's a tall order, but not impossible. Many nations have elite units trained for unconventional warfare. Then there's the question of equipment, modern weapons, communication gear, supplies. All need to be procured and distributed without raising suspicion. International arms deals are closely monitored. Domestic production would be challenging to hide. Perhaps the biggest challenge is psychological. Keeping thousands of people committed to a secret cause for years, possibly decades, without recognition, without guarantee of action. It requires a level of patriotism and discipline that's rare in today's world, but history shows it's not without precedent. Section 7. A delicate balanced geopolitical chess in Southeast Asia. The concept of a hidden Philippine army isn't just a military issue, it's a geopolitical chess move, one that could reshape the balance of power in Southeast Asia. Every nation in the region is watching China's rise with concern. Each is looking for ways to protect its interests. The Philippines occupies a crucial strategic position. Its islands form a natural barrier between the Pacific and the South China Sea. Control of these waters is vital for China's ambitions. For the United States and its allies, keeping them open is equally important. A covert Philippine force changes this equation. It adds an element of unpredictability, makes any potential conflict more costly, more complicated. It's a deterrent, a way for a smaller nation to level the playing field against a superpower. But it's also a risky gambit. If exposed, it could provide justification for more aggressive Chinese actions. It could strain relationships with other allies. The Philippines would be walking a tightrope, balancing between deterrence and provocation, between security and escalation. Section 8. The power of knowledge understanding military strategies. Why does this matter to us? Because understanding military strategies shapes our view of the world. It influences policy decisions, public opinion, the choices our leaders make. Knowledge is power, especially in the complex world of international relations. Consider how this changes our perception of the Philippines. No longer just a small nation at the mercy of larger powers, but a clever player on the world stage, using unconventional methods to protect its sovereignty. It's a David and Goliath story for the 21st century. This knowledge also challenges our assumptions about military power. Aircraft carriers and stealth bombers are impressive, but what if the real threat comes from hidden forces, from strategies we can't see or easily counter? It forces us to think differently about security. Moreover, understanding these strategies helps us make sense of world events. Tensions in the South China Sea, diplomatic maneuvering, military exercises all take on new meaning when viewed through this lens. We become more informed citizens, better equipped to engage with complex global issues. Section 9. Beyond the headlines, the human element. Let's not forget the human side of this story. If such a force exists, it's made up of real people. Men and women willing to live double lives, to train in secret, to be ready at a moment's notice to defend their country. Their dedication is both inspiring and sobering. Think of the sacrifices involved, the strain on families, the knowledge that they might be called upon to risk everything, and all without public recognition, without the usual trappings of military service. It's a unique kind of patriotism. There's also the impact on communities. Villages that might be harboring these secret soldiers, the tension of living with such a big secret, The pride mixed with fear. How would it change the fabric of Philippine society? The way people view their role in national defense? These human stories remind us that geopolitics isn't just about nations and strategies, it's about people, their hopes, fears and sacrifices. Understanding this helps us see beyond the headlines, to grasp the real stakes in international conflicts. Section 10, a call to awareness, the importance of staying informed. It's a window into the complex world of international relations. Staying informed is crucial. It makes us better citizens. Knowledge is the best defense against manipulation. Keep questioning, keep exploring, stay curious, stay informed.